Hello grade 9 and welcome to a new grammar lesson. Today we're going to start with the passive voice. You're going to learn how to identify the form and usage of the passive voice, to distinguish or know the difference between sentences in the active voice and sentences in the passive voice, and change a sentence from the active voice to the passive voice and vice versa. A sentence is in the active voice when the focus is on the subject, and the subject is at the beginning of a sentence, just as you see here. Subject, by subject we mean who or what we're talking about in the sentence, our focus. Tsunamis cause great damage. What am I talking about here? Tsunamis, so this is our subject. What about tsunamis? They cause, this is my verb. What do they cause? They cause great damage. We call this the direct object. Okay, direct object. The direct object is what takes the action, what the action falls on. Tsunamis cause what? They cause great damage. Okay, so subject, verb, and direct object. What took the action is great damage. However, a sentence is in the passive voice when the stress is on the action and not on the subject. So the focus here is on what happened and not on who we're talking about. The subject in passive voices or in passive sentences is either at the end of a sentence or it doesn't exist at all. Let's take an example. The city was ravaged by the tsunami. This is the action here. What happened? All we care about is that the city was ravaged. So this is the action. Look at the subject. It's at the end of this sentence. The city was ravaged by the tsunami. The tsunami, okay? Notice verb be in the past tense and the past participle. This is how the passive voice is made. We'll talk about that in more detail. The house was robbed. It was stolen. There is no subject here. Do we know who stole the house? No, we do not care. All we care about is that the house was robbed. So this sentence is in the passive voice. The subject is totally unknown. Verb be, the action is written as verb be plus past participle here. Okay, again, what's important in those sentences is the action. Was ravaged and was robbed, and not the subject at all. It's not our focus. Now, to form the passive voice, what do we do? First of all, every sentence in the passive voice needs verb to be plus past participle. For example, verb to be in the appropriate tense. For example, shelters are prepared by the government. Where do you see the verb to be here? Okay, shelters meaning they are. Okay, the present tense of the verb be. It's is, am, are. But shelters, they are. It takes are. And prepared is the past participle, by the government. Okay, look at the subject here. It's at the end of the sentence. Our focus here is that the shelters, what about them? They are prepared. So when you see verb to be plus past participle, it means the sentence is in the passive voice. Moving on. And this is what's important for us in grade 9. To change from the active to the passive voice, follow the steps below. From now on, in all your grammar lessons, you have to learn to follow steps, because little details might make the whole thing wrong and it will really affect your grade on the official exam. So, steps. I want to change this sentence from the active to the passive. Step 1. Identify the subject, the verb, and the direct object. Non-governmental organizations help refugees. Okay, What am I talking about here? My subject is non-governmental organizations. This means like the Greenpeace, the UN, human rights organizations, they do not belong to the government. So what am I talking about? Non-governmental organizations. What about them? They help. They help who? Okay, or what? This is my direct object. They help refugees. Refugees are people who had to leave their homes because of war or poverty. Subject, verb, direct object. Now, when I identify the subject, the verb, and I have a direct object in the sentence, things are easy for me. Step 2. Exchange the places of the subject and the direct object. Okay, so refugees, which was at the end, comes to the beginning, and then I write a verb to be in what tense? Okay, in what tense? I have to write it in the present simple because I said non-governmental organizations help refugees. This in what tense is help? Help is in the present simple, so I have to write verb to be in the present tense. Refugees meaning they. What does it take? Is, am, or are? It takes are. And the past participle of help, the main verb, is helped. Past participle of a regular verb is the same as its past tense, remember? Refugees are helped by non-governmental organizations. So, step 1, identify subject, verb, and direct object. Step 2, exchange the places of the subject and the direct object. Add to be, add the verb to be in the tense of the main verb. In this case, it was help. Help was in the simple present, so I added are. In this case, it is in the present simple, so I added are. They are. And finally, step 4, add the past participle of the main verb. As I said, in this case, help, helped. It's regular, so the past participle is the same as the past tense. Okay, this one is even clearer here. Affirmative form. The Australian forests were devastated by the wildfires. Okay, the Australian fires were not devastated by the wildfires. Were the Australian forests devastated by the wildfires? Here I'm giving you examples of how we write the passive voice in the affirmative, the negative, and the interrogative, which means the question form. Okay, now let's, you have to refer to the worksheet you received for the form of the passive voice. You have to study that very well, and I included it in this PowerPoint. This is it. Please study it. Active to the passive. I said in the passive voice I have to add verb to be plus past participle. Now the verb to be needs to be in the tense of the main verb in the sentence. In the sentence we took, the main verb was help. In the present tense, I added are, which is verb to be in the present tense. Present simple, let's say they make, this is a clear example, they make cars in Germany. This is my verb. Present simple, okay? They make cars in Germany. So I have to add verb to be in the present simple. Cars. Cars meaning they. What does it take? Am, is, or are. It takes are. Cars are made in Germany. Okay? Made is the past participle of the main verb, which is make. Okay? Now, present continuous, verb to be. If my sentence were mother is baking a cake, circle the main verb. Mother is baking a cake. My subject is mother. What's she doing? Baking a cake. Direct object. Exchange the places of the direct object and the subject, which is mother. A cake. Now I have to write is plus being plus past participle in the present continuous. So a cake is being baked, the past participle of this, by mother. Okay, you have an ing in the active voice, you need an ing in the passive voice, or else you did something wrong. So, a cake is being baked by mother. Past simple. J.D. Salinger wrote The Catcher in the Rye. Okay, J.D. Salinger is my subject. I'm talking about him. What did he do? He wrote. Okay, whenever I circle the verb, I take a look at the tense. It's past simple. So I'm going to add verb to be either was or were. What did he write? The Catcher and the Rye. So The Catcher and the Rye, which is a book, one book. Okay, The Catcher and the Rye was, so it was past participle of write or wrote, written by J.D. Salinger. Past continuous, was or were plus being plus past participle. Okay, be very careful with the continuous tenses. Was or were, depending on the subject, plus being, ing, plus past participle. They were watching TV when I got home. Okay, TV. Okay, what were they? Subject. What were they doing? Were watching. So I'm gonna need was or were plus being plus the past participle of watch. What were they watching? TV. TV was being watched when I got home. Present perfect. I have cleaned my room. What have I done? I have cleaned. This is present perfect. How do I write it? It's have or has plus been plus past participle. My room has been cleaned. Past perfect, had read. Thomas had read the book. Thomas is my subject. The book is my direct object. The book had always. With the past perfect, it's always had. And been, all the perfect tenses take been. And past participle of read is read. The book had been read by Thomas before he saw the film. Future simple, they will write a test paper. Subject, they, what will they do? Will write. What will they write? A test paper, direct object. So I start with a test paper. A test paper will. When you see will, okay, you have to write after it. It's a modal be, past participle written by them. Now, number 8 is he is going to make a speech next week. He, my subject, is going to make, this is the whole verb, be going to, remember, be going to plus base form, a speech. So a speech is going to be made by him. Now the modals like can, could, shall, should, have to, ought to, may, might, must. Okay, those are modal verbs. Remember, you took them grade 7 and 8 and 6. Those are modal verbs. He can see. This is a modal here. Can see the horizon. He is my subject. Can see is the verb and the modal. See what? The horizon. The horizon can be seen by him. So you add the modal plus be plus the past participle. The moment you study this, it will be a piece of cake. But if you do not study it, you will always make mistakes in this. Okay, now exercises. Let's move on. Tell whether the following sentences are active or passive. I'm going to do a few of them now, and then during the Zoom live sessions, we will do all of them. The dress was made for her mother. Immediately take a look at the verb or the action. Was made. Verb be plus past participle. So active or passive? Passive, of course. There is the subject. It's at the end. Arabic is spoken in Egypt. Is spoken. Verb be plus past participle. So it's a passive voice. If we had written Egypt, in Egypt they speak Arabic, it would have been active. I am always disturbed by them. Am disturbed. Verb to be plus past participle, passive. The dog is chasing the boys. My subject is here. I'm talking about the boy, the fact that he's always chasing the boys. This is in the present continuous, active. There's no verb be plus past participle. Who was the car bought by? Was bought. Verb be plus past participle. Is there a subject here? No, there is no subject. So, of course, it's in the passive. The criminal had already been caught by the police. Okay, had been caught, passive voice. And the police is our subject. It's at the end, so obviously it's in the passive. Mr. Swift may invite us. Is there a verb be here? Is there a past participle with verb be? No, so it's in the active voice. Okay? We will do those during Zoom live session. Moving on, now we need to underline the subject, the verb, and direct object, if any. And you will learn that if there is no direct object, you cannot change it to the passive voice. Then change it to the passive voice. Artisans make beautiful handicrafts. Subject, verb, direct object. Artisans do what? They make. Make what? What took the action? What took the verb? Beautiful handicrafts. So beautiful handicrafts. The verb is make. It's in the present simple. Beautiful handicrafts are made, the past participle of make, by artisans. The glass blower made a beautiful vase in his workshop. The glass blower made, what tense is that? He made what? First of all, a beautiful vase. In the workshop is, we call it a compliment. Leave it till the end. Made is in the past simple. So I need a verb be in the past simple, which is was or were. When I write a beautiful vase here, a beautiful vase, does it take was or were? It takes was. Was, past participle of made, also made. Made by the glass blower. I am planning an amazing surprise party. What am I doing? Am planning what? An amazing surprise party. Right now, leave it till the end. An amazing surprise party. Now, there is present continuous. So, am, is, are, plus being, plus past participle. An amazing surprise party is, because it is being planned by me right now. Jeff has eaten what? Enough pizza for one day. Enough pizza, okay, that's singular, has been eaten. Remember the form of the present perfect. It's has or have plus been plus past participle. Has been eaten by Jeff for one day. Okay, those are the answers when you want to revise the PowerPoint. Okay, those we will do together during Zoom Live, of course. Now, tell whether the following sentences are written in the active or passive voice, then change it to the other voice. When you have such questions on the official exam or in different exams, this is how you have to do the exercise. They give you the original sentence and then you have to rewrite it in the different voice. First of all, let's say whether it's active or passive, then we change it. The atmosphere is harmed by air pollution. Take a look at the action. Is harmed. That's passive because we have verb be plus past participle. So first of all, it's passive. I want to change it back to active. Take my subject back. Air pollution. Take a look at verb be. Is present simple. So I have to write the main verb in the present simple. Air pollution harms, okay, you get rid of this, harms the atmosphere. Technology is helping the education process. Active or passive? Subject. What I'm talking about technology is helping. There's no verb be plus past participle. The education process, that's active. Now, the education process, exchange the subject and the verb. Now, take a look at the verb. Stop here. Okay. The education process is, I have to add being. Okay, when there's an ing there, you have to write being, and the past participle of helped by technology. The education process is being helped by technology. 3. The recycling project will reduce garbage pollution. Okay, this is in the future simple and it's in the active form. There's no verb be plus past participle. Subject, verb, direct object. Garbage pollution will. When you have will or any modal, will, can, could, shall, should, you write the same modal here or the same word. Garbage pollution will, and then after the modal like will, can, could, shall, should, write be, and then the past participle of the main verb, reduced by the recycling project, which is here. Finally, a clean environment can be achieved by careful planning. Can be achieved. Okay, there's a verb be and there's a past participle, so it's passive. So let me take back my subject to the beginning. Careful planning can, I have to remove the be, I'm writing it in the active voice. Achieve, can, after can, could, shall, should, you always write the base form of any verb. Okay, can achieve a clean environment. Okay, and we will, those are the answers, and we will do the rest of the exercises together in class. So by now, if you study the worksheet I gave you very well, if you study the rules very well, you should be able to identify the form and usage of the passive voice, distinguish between the passive and the active voice, and change a sentence from the active to the passive voice and vice versa. Okay, see you during Zoom live sessions. Please, for any questions, write them down and don't forget to ask me.